I must thank Masuda for making this happen. There are 38 people joined. In the group, I am seeing you around, how many are there now? 72 participants. So, half is a good number to start. But out of the half, those who are showing face are only will be present as far as I am concerned. So, I must thank Masuda and GFECER. I am sure a lot of people who interacted with me, those who have given me some inputs, those who have discussed about the problems. I have seen great experts around. And I must apologize and tell you that I am not an expert in early childhood care and education, like you are all educators. I am not an educator by myself. Right. But I am good in research. I am basically a scientist from Space Department, basically a mathematician. I have done sufficient work on philosophy, education, etc. etc. Fortunate enough to be the teachers at the highest level in the university as director for academic staff college. So teaching teachers was my job. There are two possibilities of an academic staff college in the university grants commission system. One is orient teachers for teaching job. That's almost like making them to understand how to deal in the class and etc. etc. And second one is make teachers to do research in the forefront areas. There may be teachers in service for last 30 years who are professors, assistant professors, very senior professors, but they may not have any idea about what is happening in the world. So as an academic staff college director, my job was to equip them in the new arena of research, which are all the upcoming field in which the teachers are supposed to concentrate. How do you relate your basic knowledge into the forefront? That's a very challenging job because you are talking to the professors in the universities, orient them for a research in the new arena. So I believe I have done a sufficient good job in doing that, but it is never done in like an instruction. It is done in a collaborative growing together. So I believe here also you're all experts in your field. I have got some expertise in the research methodology. Let us collaborate each other. That's why I wanted a lot of interaction in which you have a lot of questions I can answer. We had done sufficient propaganda, putting them across, saying that people can come and discuss with me. But I'm seeing on the last half day of today only 60% of the people joined. This is one biggest problem which as early childhood educator, you should never look for any activity at the last moment. It doesn't happen in a last moment job. It has to be very, very, very systematic. This shows the culture with which all of you are working. I am not like that. I am very, very systematic as far as I am concerned. I told many times in the group, everybody has to make my phone number noted, store the name in my number, send me a message. But I have seen only 30% of the people have done that. How do I know this? Because I have stored all of your numbers. I am sending a message by broadcast. If it is not delivered to you, either I have done a mistake of not joining you in the group, or you have not stored my number. So instruction is not read properly. Can Dolly mute your mic? Yeah. And I am seeing most of the people joining with their mobile. There are vertically shown. Minimum technology knowledge will tell you there is a display format in which you can rotate your display. If that is on and you keep the phone like this, what will happen is you will be able to see, or all will be able to see the picture horizontally, not vertical. Number one. Now I am seeing people calling. The last moment also people want to join. I am not going to entertain anyway. So what will happen? If you don't tilt it like this, you will not be able to, if you don't make it to display rotate, you will not be able to see in the horizontal style. So I expect people to make the display rotate option on, then put the phone horizontal. Two reasons. One, when you keep the phone like this, your sound is coming from the lower bottom. It will create vibrations and noises. If you keep it like this, the sound effect will become free. So there is no disturbance in the phone. Got it? So let us see how do you improve in your general knowledge of what are all the areas in which research can be done. That is one reason I want few people to join slightly early, have interaction with me, so that they will post their problems and others will understand, yes, oh wonderful, I got an idea of how to define a problem, how to define a research area. I am selfish. I am selfish to the sense that I wanted to spend my rest of my life, I retired almost 13 years back, rest of my time for the purpose of education. My name is TPS. Address me as DrTPS, not sir. I must have sent a message to many people, don't call me sir. Sir is a big title in the British era, which Britishers themselves have forgotten. But still stupid slave India, keep calling everybody madam and sir. I sincerely ask all of you, don't do this, because you are the people who are training the next generation. Let us stop the stupidity of calling somebody sir. Sir was a great title. Sir Isaac Newton, Sir C.V. Raman. I also wish I have got a sir prefixing my name, but they themselves stopped. Suffixing the sir is actually a foolish thing and rubbish thing. We make mockeries of things. I am into education. Today morning also I had a class with the students where how mathematics can be taught, how mathematics can become simple. So I am every day with the teachers and students. My name is TPS. Teachers, parents, students. So these are the three group of people with whom I am interacting every day on for last so many years, probably last 3 years. If you can look at internet on YouTube, you will see every day average 2 hours, 3 hours of video of mine, which everything was an education, nothing else. So I always talk to teachers, parents and students, that is what I do. I've been rolling around India at different places. Fortunately, I have been some connection and contact with Masuda when there was a All India Principals Conference in Calcutta, and then she happens to be the organizer. I was invited there. Okay, so I have got something to return back to Masuda, because she has hosted me there and then took me there, paid my airfare, all that has been done. So I thought this is my returning back to her, because I don't take money for any of my lectures. Only I have to be taken care of well. I have to be taken care of my transport, accommodation, local hospitality. I am there everywhere. That's what I do. I am sure that 4.5 hours of interaction is not good enough for anyone to learn research methodology. It is not good enough at all. But I am sure this will trigger some of you to sharpen your research ideas and problems, or maybe for some of you it will become a trigger to understand how others are doing research, so that you can start thinking about it. Our idea is, again, Masuda is initiated a big program where August end we are going to have a conference. There is a team of people working. I am also part of that, in which my concern is, generally you don't see a good research problem. You don't see good papers. Therefore, I don't attend any conferences. It has just become a mela and then showing off, where no contribution, nothing I gain by attending such conferences. But I want the next generation at least understand the world is changing. People are looking at, you are publishing, you are also putting into the YouTube. The whole world is looking at. They evaluate India as a place of fun, but not a serious people who are doing research. but there are lot of scope for research. I will start putting you some of the ideas where probably I am thinking little aloud on which what people have got fed me for the last half an hour at least. Okay, what is that, what we have to do? At least if there are 70 people, 10% of you, 7 papers are there which are worth publishing in a journal. The effort of 3 days is a great effort, but 3 days effort is not good enough if you are not written a paper, because today it's very hard to understand who is a real doctorate and who is a funny Facebook doctorates, because it's being sold by people for paying money. You can also put a DR before you, right? So the value has lost. I'm a genuine person who does research. I value education, so I don't mockerize this doctorate by putting doctorate by paying money. Similarly, the research, when you do, it has to be too genuine. It must be a publishable, peer review. At least in a conference when it comes, people should appreciate, oh, this person has done a genuine research. Let me collaborate. I'm sure there are a lot of possibility of people from abroad coming and then settling in India to understand what research you are doing. You can have collaboration with abroad because they all look forward for what is happening in India. There are people from West who wanted to invest their time in India to understand, but they all say that we are only doing some mockerizing job, but not very serious. We have a responsibility to rectify this. If teachers in early education do not do this, the effect is going to be too large, because the children are very, very, very careful in picking up knowledge. When they grow from teenage onwards, they don't care teachers. I'm sure at the early childhood, they look forward to the teachers as God. Whatever they say is a very great word. No, I have got a book called Life Made Simple, in which I wrote the 3 years their parents are great. But from 3 to 7 years, Life Made Simple book, if you read it, it's there on my website. It says from 3 years to 7 years or 9 years, if you look at children, they consider the teachers as the role model. So if you are not doing good, it's a great mistake from your side. So I'm sure you are the role model. You have to do some genuine work. From the small interaction for the last half day, may not be half day, last 2 hours, when I asked some people to share their topics, it was so much interesting and then genuine. I am feeling that if Masuda agrees, with at least 10 of you selected around me, we will all together will write a book. There is great scope from the last 2 hours of discussion what I have seen.
Dr. TPS?
Yeah.
This is a go ahead. We can anytime. I would be pleased. I'd be very happy to have the book.
I am sure in 10 days I can write a book, but that's not my aim. I want you people who are in the forefront working with the children to become part of it. I am very good. I can just write books. I am not doing it because it is not my intention to make a name. Yeah, there is some digitally illiterate person is also there. I am not able to mute them because Masuda, I don't have that. You should. Have done it? Yeah. So what I am saying is, if there are 10 people ready who wanted to write a paper, who are ready to do some little work, I am sure we can make a beautiful book on early childhood education. At least the areas of research which needs to be done can be documented. And it will not be a small book. I'll tell you, minimum 300 pages we can write. Right? So it will be a very good book which we can produce. So I want people not to finish from today's discussion. I want people to be around discussing this for longer time, so that I'm sure we can create some worthwhile activity in which we can generate beautiful papers and beautiful book that will be a great contribution from all of us. Okay, I love it. That's what I can do for the society is probably only that, nothing more. That is my genuine interest, and that is my selfishness. So I told I'm little selfish because I wanted to create something which probably with your help can do, and I believe all of you are torch bearers, and then you can become part of creating this by contributing, not by just name, but with a real interest. With a real interest. So it doesn't end with the 4.5 hours of today's lecture. Okay. I am sure the workshop should be with a lot of interaction. I generally don't like the webinar program because you cannot really initiate a discussion from the people, but we will try to make it as best as we can. If others are passive listeners, if they get some trigger for identifying some problems, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, they can again send some problems, and then see that you get a sufficient number of ideas, so that you can also become part of this in the tomorrow and day after tomorrow. So tomorrow I will not spend this much time giving brief about what we are going to do. Second part, I am sure a research is not a philosophical title where you can do a blah blah lecture. It has to be a data collection. If you have listened to my video which I have circulated earlier, data collection is must. Actually, there has to be a methodology which you adapt. It can be a questionnaire, it can be an interview, it can be filling up form, it can be any such data collection. Based on that, in case if any one of you wanted to create a real collaboration and contribution, I am ready to come and work with you at your place, because the data and sample is at your disposal. We will work together and then make a sensible paper where we will contribute each other. I don't require name, I don't require fame, I don't require money. My service is for social cause. I am making it very clear. But I will not spend a money from my pocket for doing this, because I am sufficiently good enough for my time has to be used for people who are ready to invest for getting some benefit out of me. Okay. So where can I work and what we can do? My today's topic is very, very specific. I also told when most of the people interact with me, be very specific, not very general. So it is research methodology. I am continuously getting calls. So I am getting slightly disturbed. So I may be slightly distorted from the focus of talking to you. What is essentially required is the new idea of research, experimenting someone's plan. Someone's plan. It is not your plan. It can be someone's plan. But you are observing how is it getting implemented in your place. That is also fantastic. Okay. So nothing wrong in saying that, oh, I am doing a research which probably will, let me just store this number and send a message. Continuously disturbing. I cannot stop them. I cannot say that don't join, right? Let me put save. There are at least 10 numbers with me now who wanted to join probably. Okay. So it can be a reflection. It can be a research where you do some analysis, understand what is to be done, create a specific area of interest around your field of work. Somebody would have published a methodology, somebody would have published an idea around your area, how it can be implemented. See, the other day we were discussing about Kannada language, how it is implemented in Karnataka. The same copy can be done in your language, in your place, and that can be a paper. So one methodology somebody has already done, you can duplicate it. So that is also a research. But that has to be a genuine work, number one. You can publish this in 2-3 journals. I am sure there will be a lot of people inviting you to make a submission of your thesis, and then you can also get a PhD after this. So one is paper, next is the dissertation, third one is the thesis. So why do we do research? It is for contributing something genuinely to the next generation. That is what you should understand. It is not just showing that you have some interest in the field, but proving that yes, it worth writing a paper. So it has to be a genuine work in which you are publishing a paper. That should be your aim. and for which there are very, very specific methodology in which you write. How to write a paper we will discuss maybe at the last day. Earlier we have done it, you can look at it so that your methodology becomes very good. You should have real objective and scope. You can write down. If you are not having pen and paper, the class is useless. Every technical word you write it down so that I will allow you to ask questions on that. Objective and scope has to be defined perfectly well. If you don't write your objective and scope, what will happen is your research becomes totally useless. So it cannot be a philosophical paper in which somebody writes, oh, I am talking about the philosophy of education. No, that cannot be a paper. It's a problem, a data collection, a method, solving problem, and a conclusion. I have told you the titles of the chapter which you have to write when you write a PhD thesis. If this is not followed like this, whatever you write becomes generally useless. Nobody will appreciate. So you have to be very, very, very careful in writing the thesis, but to get to the content in the third chapter, data collection, methodology, where to apply for that, and how do you create the conclusion out of it. That depends on the work which you do in this field. That needs to be very, very carefully added with lot of genuinity. That means it has to be a precise problem which you define yourself or copy from somebody's methodology which has been adopted somewhere else. Okay, I am making it very clear because some of you are new to this. Some of you are already done this, must think about your problem, how is it going to be run. There are two types of research. One is called observational research, another one is called experimental research. I have got a method in which I wanted to establish a school in my style. That's an experiment. Another one is empirical, which hypothesis, may not be able to implement it on the ground. It can be an idea which may work, may not work. That doesn't matter. So it can be totally theoretical one, right? But if you are doing something genuine, most of the things which can be experimented will give you a applied research than a basic research and a theoretical research. So that is what you should understand. Your contribution in what you do in experimenting, a new technique of education, how it has got influenced can be one. The other day also I explained, assume that you are wanted to identify how your style of education will influence the next generation. You cannot wait for these children becoming up to teenage. So what you can do is your study can be focused on the teenage group or maybe adolescent group, how their childhood education impacted them in what they wanted to become today. So that will be a theoretical study, that will be a data collection study, that will be not a primary data, that will be a secondary data, because somebody's influence on their childhood education, you are studying it at a later age, so that can be used to rectify your today's methodology. So the idea is to make it practically available to people where you can implement it in your classroom. So anything which cannot be implemented cannot be a applied research. At least you must do it in your classroom. You can do it in your school. You can do it in your batch. It can change from 1 year to second year, third year. So when you are projecting it in 3 months, you are writing, it cannot be an experiment what you are doing today. Suppose you have done some experiments earlier. This can be a data collection or maybe an experiment which you have done, you are documenting it. So next 3 months can be a documentation time also. That is also a good idea that you can do it today, right? So you have got a ethical concern about what you are doing cannot be false. You can do a pilot project. It can be a main study. Everything should result in analyzing what you have been observing or what others have done. How did it implement in your place, right? These are all what you can do. And report writing and publication is very, very important. You can do it without anyone's help. You can also do it with a very genuine way of publishing it in an international journal. Today there are a lot of papers, publication people, those who publish your paper by accepting money and payment. I suggest people not to do any such kind of thing, because maybe today you will feel happy that you got a publication, but later when you are a genuine person, after some time, you feel, oh, I should not have done it. It's actually rubbish. Because when you are supposed to grow, at this point of time, it's like copying and then passing an examination. At that point of time, you will feel, yeah, I have passed my examination, it is great. But later, I am sure in your life, you will start feeling so bad, no, I have done a mistake. Correct. Therefore, I suggest people not to get into such bad practices. What is genuinely to be done is get it published by really working on a realistic problem, and that must be our aim. It is not hooking up, cutting and pasting from somewhere and then getting it right. Never do that. Don't copy and then publish something. Don't publish in a journal which is not genuine and really good. These are all my suggestions. Now, do you want me to talk about few problems with interaction, or will you be able to tell me some problems where I can make some of my suggestions? How do you want to do it, Masuda? Masuda is muted. If you can unmute and then speak, I will be very happy. Or anybody could unmute and speak and then tell me what is that you want. You want me to give some samples from the dialogue which we had with some people, or anybody can start. If you're already into research, you've got some experience, you wanted to pose your problems. Yeah.
You can go ahead with your examples from some genuine PhD competition, then we will go ahead with our problems.
Yeah, that's good.
Doctor, can I share my opinion?
Yeah, sure. Who is that? You introduce yourself.
Yeah, Shelly ma'am was absolutely right, doctor. So one, we need examples to understand it better. But I can also request that some of us are ready with some solutions. Speaking very honestly, like me, my case exclusively, I have identified a crucial problem where children's parents, teachers, and students are...
Rajani, we have done a very great discussion on this. That video has been circulated to everyone who interacted with me.
Yes, Abhisha. So can we take one example for 3 days and try to build up how we can go?
No, then what will happen is that problem will get solved. But there are a lot of people with a lot of ideas. They think that this can be only the research. What I want is, I want everyone to suggest different problems. Right? So that different problems will give an idea. Assume that you are a language person and you have done some research on the Kannada. That was what I wanted actually was to have so many such discussions to fill the material very, very rich. But nobody other than Rajani Rao has come forward. It's so pathetic. Number one. Number two, your sample I have sent it to many people, but I rarely think, or I have no chance to think that somebody has seriously seen this. Okay, so it shows people are not really into research. They probably attending this to get a certificate. So 70 people are attending, maybe 7 people may be genuinely research. I am so glad. That's only what I am saying. When I asked some people to suggest some topics, so many days, not now, it's almost a month, right? Those who started interacting with me, I kept on asking. Today, afternoon, I got few topics. But they are all genuine, they are all beautiful, they are wonderful. But when you write a book or a problem to solve, I must put them into sequence. I didn't even have time to look at what are all the topics, right? But somebody has written aspects and philosophies of childhood research. This can be a blah 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 lecture by the Rajya Sabha member or Prime Minister in a general forum. This cannot be a research paper. Understand, you are not giving a keynote address, you are not going for an inaugural talk. That also is fantastic if you are good in that, and then blah 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 is good. But here we are looking at problem, we are looking at research, we are looking at how can you do a genuine job in which you can publish a paper. Okay, so it is not lecturing. So let us not waste time on generic topics. Look at problems, very, very specific problems. Smriti Agarwal has shown her face. Yeah, Smriti. Yeah.
Yes, good evening, Dr. TPS. What I was thinking was, in my head for the research was that, there's a genuine problem on foundational literacy and numeracy, which the government has come up with the NEP 2020, and they have come up with a document, Nipun also. That's a national initiative for proficiency in reading with understanding and numeracy. I was thinking that why is it that in India we have the lack of this foundational literacy and numeracy, and children, I'm not talking about the metro cities and the children who are going to branded schools. I'm talking about children in general, that they do not have the basic reading or the basic numeracy, mathematical skills, even by the time they reach grade 3 and 4. So I'm an early childhood educator. Though we start early, but still there's a genuine problem of foundational literacy and numeracy, and that was my problem that I wanted to look into as a research.
That's a wonderful problem to be solved, but it's again too generic. It's a total India problem, right? Everybody can keep talking. I also give a lot of lectures in which I keep saying, you don't have to relate to national new education policy, because it's a policy. Number one. Number two, it will never get implemented in India. Fashionable new words are being thrown like NEP, SDG. I will just laugh at people, though I have given so many lectures, because when I invited, I get a audience, I will not leave it. But in all the places I made jokes of NEP, I also made jokes of SDG. The reason is UNDP, which started how many years back? 50 years back, which talks about education for all. What is SDG? Quality education for all. Do you mean 50 years back people thought about not quality education, and today people talk about quality education? Number one. Number two, in NEP, if you look at, we have got a university, it also talks about education for all. In India, we need literacy, everything is told. We understand three things have to be clearly. Okay, let me come to that. What are all the broad things which have to get into the class? I'll tell you, there are 4 frames. If you have already educated in this, don't skip writing, because it reminds you about the 4 frames which I am talking, because we can discuss around it. One is the kindergarten, where you have got 4 key aspects in early childhood education. The teachers are supposed to guide, create a comprehensive understanding on one, belongingness. What is belongingness? If you look at the whole SDG, I can use one word which is called belongingness, which is in the framework. Okay, so what is that? I have to look around my life, relationship with the children, educators, family, community, my relationship, my environment. If you look at the syllabus, from nursery to 7th class, it is only understanding the life around you, which is in the syllabus. From 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, it is abstract science. So up to 7th class, not even early education, up to 7th class, it is life and around your life. So anything, how do you keep themselves feel that I belongs to this society, I belongs to this culture, I belongs to this literature, I belong to this language. Establish the relationship between me beyond the classroom. That is what as a teacher you are supposed to do. Open communication. So the communication needs 3 things. One is language, second one is the creativity, the third one is the courage to speak to people. You are creative, you have good language, but most of the people, they lack courage. So how do you cultivate this? That is what is the aim of education at the early childhood. Then the second framework, the first framework is belongingness. Second framework is the next B, it is being. how do I incorporate all the activities which are play based, which are fun, which are craft, identify the interest and strength in my ideas. You understand, you look at all the genuine world famous people including Mahatma Gandhi, even when he was talking to his guest his hands were working. He was always doing some work with his hands. That means he had a craft under his control every time. So understand, every child should work with their hands. If you are not working with their hands, you cannot be a creative person. I do a lot of craft activity. I know how to make items out of nothing. Now what you give me around, I will make some fun out of it. So incorporate your child-led activities, not you leading the activity. Give them some item and then give them some creativity, let them create something. Such samples if you can generate and show that my children have done it, that is a better research than you providing some guidance. We always guide them. Don't guide them. Give them freedom, right? Third one, inside the being, you give lot of material, lot of resources, and then ask them to connect them and then put them in their own style. It may be entirely different. That's what you can actual foster creativity in them. They will become a self-expressing children. The art, music, storytelling, all that you are not supposed to tell. You are asking them to do something. I can do lot of activities. I have done sufficient number of camps in which even elderly people behave like an LKG student. I remember when Infosys, some managers came to attend my camps. I make them to sing rhymes and then translate that into their language and sing. It's beautiful. And their juniors who are reporting to them are also attending. You see, I never seen this manager like this so funny. Now I am seeing him the genuine manager, right? Understood? So I make a lot of fun around people, and not even a single moment I will ask them to keep quiet. Let them shout. Let them shout. I keep saying, a silent boy come to me will become violent, and violent boy will become silent. That's how I will make my children. And no child will cry in the nursery class also. The first day in the class, they will smile and come. I know the trick of making this. I am not talking from blah blah, which I have not done, experimented in my life. I have done it physically, realistically, I have done it. So what is that? After being, you becoming is what is the next B. So I talked about 3 B's. It's very easy to remember, right? So the next one is becoming. Put the frame in the practical educator's point of view, where the children growth and development, both in terms of skill, the attitude setting, and the opportunity which you create. This is a formula from DrTPS. You Google it, you will not get anywhere. P performance is equal to A attitude plus S skill plus opportunity O. So if you nurture your children very curiously and with a lot of confidence in them, without giving much restrictions, supporting them in their journey on the way which they wanted to pursue, you are giving an opportunity for them to become creative. Once you do that, create the skill what they require. So opportunity and skill. While seeing so, that is why when Rajani Rao wanted her problem to be solved or problem to be discussed here, what I wanted is lot of ideas should come, so that a person who doesn't have an attitude also on your problem will think, let me think about this. You know, that is the basic reason in a school. We are not creating Monday for mathematics, Tuesday for social science, Thursday for... Very easy for you to make a timetable, because each teacher, because a teacher speaks about 3 hours, 4 hours continuously, but you wanted to shift from one classroom to another classroom to another classroom, because basic psychology of learning says you need to have different problems, so that different subject, different thoughts, different people, so that you will think differently. And that divergence should be there in your brain. You are not learning to learn one subject, you are learning to learn different subjects. It's a beautiful concept. So you should understand that should be from the childhood, and children are very good in this. Children are very good because you give a pen, they will grab it. But you snatch the pen and then give something else, they will be still happy. They will not cry for this pen. They will forget things very fast. And they know, because elders will not. But childhood, they have this ability. So provide variety. Provide variety. stimulating the learning experience, which can be for critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, language skill, literature, everything can be part of it. In Indian situation, we have got lot of Subhashitam slokas. You can look at DrTPS Subhashitam. You can see hundreds of them, which all of them I am recollecting in childhood, what I learned, what I heard from my mother in the house. I am now re-looking at it. Probably the script may be slightly wrong because from my memory only. Even if I Google, I am not able to see them in the literature today. But I have got plenty of them which I learned in my childhood. So I'll tell you, if you teach something in the children in the childhood, you will still remember it. So because the linguistic skill, neuro-linguistic approach which you can put into the children at this young age, they will remember you throughout their life. So critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, language skill, all these has to be fostered in a different style, and they become that tomorrow. And the last one, the fourth framework, this need not be in the same style. I am only putting in my style. That can be connecting. Connecting is a great aspect which the world around you and you, how do you become socially connected? How do you get connected to the natural environment? How do you connect it to the cultural environment? In a city, it is much simpler because you get a lot of people from different culture. When you have got 5 different people speaking 5 different languages in your classroom, I am sure the child will learn all the 5 languages, identifying each one of them. When they reach, they use that language. The other day I was telling we have got only mother tongue, but today's world they have got a mother tongue and father tongue, because father and mother may be from different states, different languages. And you have got a other tongue which is your local tongue, and I am sure their friends, they will speak different languages. I was giving my children who are educated in Hyderabad. I am from Kerala. My wife is also from Kerala. So they speak, read and write Malayalam, though they had never had any school education in that. So it is at home they learned it. Second one, they speak Hindi, they speak Telugu, because Hyderabad uses both these languages. Third one, English, they become very thorough. So 4 languages for anybody today is so simple and genuine. It looks almost like a mother tongue. So emphasize on this connectivity to the society. I speak different South Indian languages. Rajani was so happy when I spoke Kannada to her. It is not the childhood I was there. I speak Tamil, read and write Tamil. In childhood I had Tamil friends. Kannada I learned because I studied 3 years in Karnataka. Telugu I speak because I was here. I speak Gujarati because I worked almost a year in Gujarat. I speak Bangla because my roommate was 3 years a Bengali. So I am sure you can learn languages without much difficulty. Okay, I am not that bad in Sanskrit. I literature wise I am good in Sanskrit, but language wise I have never seen somebody who can really communicate with that, and therefore I don't use it. But having taught Bhagavad Gita 3-4 times in United Nations and America, my Sanskrit is approved to be very good. Otherwise people don't call me, right? So what is required is, in childhood what I have learned my Sanskrit, though I am not good in language, that helped me in understanding the literature. Integrate with the nature, integrate with activities, integrate with as many people as you want. It is very, very essential to engage children totally. That will create children 200% busy. Today, educators are 200% busy, children are 10% busy. So what do they do? 90% noise in the classroom. Understood? This has to be shifted. There are small tricks which can make a large difference. So educators should create a balance of integration of all these frames. Though I have put it into different frames, you have to see them, how to put them together in daily routine, your lesson plans, interaction with the children, and creating a long-term plan. So I have covered this in a holistic manner, except Masuda wanted to have a futuristic holistic plan. And futuristic holistic is a very big tandem. I am good in that. I was teaching recently on a B.Ed center where I created an augmented reality. I am sitting and eating, my tiger is beside me. Okay, so there are a lot of things which you can do in your classroom. On the display you can bring whatever animals you want. It's augmented reality in your classroom. But what you should understand is your platform. I am very good in computers. My life, I have seen all the computers, purchased all the computers. Department of Space have no problem in buying what we want in the last 20 years. Last 10 years I am out, but still I am very close to this. I'll tell you, 21st century is not a word to be used in education. You see, last 3 years it has gone to a large change. In 2007, I authored a book called Adaptive Learning. This is available on you to download from my website, in which I described how to make your classroom video ready. I am recording it onto a screen there. I am recording it audio here. I am grabbing the screen. I process it myself, create my video, and then post myself onto YouTube, which I have learned from Delhi Jawaharlal Nehru University. How many years back? 17 years back. I'll tell you, that time there was no COVID. After that, whatever I learned, I made a book, which was published by Discovery Publishers from Delhi. This book, I tried to put it into classrooms in university level. People did not accept. They were reluctant to change. But today, Professor COVID, that's what I call. Professor COVID taught all of us how to become digitally active. Otherwise, I'm sure we will never meet on this webinar like this. Understood? So it is 3 years we made change, but not 100 years. It is not a century. It is third decade of 21st century. So I call it, we should talk about 3, 2, 1. Decade. Third decade, 21st century. Third decade of 21st century, I am talking about how we have to make people to become adapted to the fourth decade itself is a great thing. Not for 22nd century, because we can't even think what will happen. Understood? So we have to be very careful about defining the problem. Don't make it too generic. Let us make it too specific and then talk about it. Under this framework, I think I have covered whatever is to be done in the classroom, whatever is futuristic approach. Now you can ask me questions. I can go on and on. I can go hours together, days together without sleep also. Okay. But let me understand what is that you are looking at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, I think because the research mindset is so less in India, we really are not sure of how specific and what kind of subject do we pick up for the research. So if you can help us in that, it would be really nice. Like Masuda said, you can, or Shelly ma'am said that you can give us some kind of examples of what we can do.
See, there are two things. One research can be to equip the teachers in the primary education to become good. That's also part of primary. The second one, what I told you is, there are people who have got stage fear. Is it because their childhood education impacted them on this? So how do you learn about this? You can do an interview of all the teenagers, adolescent children to find out where did they had this fear. Right? So there are people in the adulthood, they had a fear of dealing with the people, talking to people, maybe facing a stranger. Where did the fear started? You see, most of the time the children are too good in the young age. What would have happened to them? There would have been 1 or 2 instances in which they have been hampered, they have been disrupted, they have been not patronized for their genuineness. So identify why is it happening. Then now, identifying is not a solution. How are you going to implement this in your classroom? See, for example, I will give you one basic thing. I told you, when I create a classroom, you can all do that at your place. Okay. In first day, the child cries. Most of the children, when they come to school, except very few, either in nursery or LKG, even after nursery, a 3 months of vacation, they come on the first KG. Even my children cried. How do you make them not to cry? Anybody has got any suggestion? If you have not heard me earlier. If you have heard from me, don't tell this. Anybody? I'll tell you, if you ask a child to pose for a photograph and you are taking a picture, the child will never cry. Number one. But you cannot do this to a class. So what do? You create a webcam at the entry itself and project on a big screen. A child who comes and then see that their picture on the big screen crying, immediately they will hold and then start smiling like this. Understood? I have done this and I found that no children entering the class are crying. Second one, all of you have got lot of activities in your class. Why not one wall made it totally a mirror? Anybody seeing a mirror will not cry. Especially girl children cry more, and especially girl children, when they see mirror, they will stop crying. It's a great psychology. I'm a psychotherapist. I have done sort of. You can listen to one of my discussion of how to create a KG class. The other day I spoke to somebody who is from Haryana. Aravind Swami, DrTPS. My last, after discussion with Rajani Rao, one person who was in one of my class were Grandma Child Shiksha Gurukulam, that's my concept, were 4 years back, which I presented with 100 of people in Hyderabad. He now shifted to Haryana, is approximately 20 kilometers close to India-Pakistan border. It's a small village. He is planning to create a KG class of my concept, which is called Grandma Child Care Shiksha Gurukulam, in which I have described how the classroom has to be set up. You listen to that, you will see all these ideas done there because I already implemented. Look at DrTPS, Grandma Child Care Shiksha Gurukulam. You will see a playlist in which the inauguration was done in 2005 in Kerala. It's not a concept which was implemented, not one. Many such places, small things have been done. Okay. You can see another program in which icon is looking at something very carefully. Iconic view means that. Icon DrTPS. You will see I worked with one of the richest man in India. He had got a sample school in which similar things have been implemented. I also worked with him as an education consultant in 2010-11. That 1 year, 13 months I was with him in his small LKG school also. I had lot of classes. Okay. Yeah. So what you can do is Smriti Agarwal has got a set of students and set of teachers, and you have freedom to do research. I don't know where are you from. Where are you from, Smriti? I don't think you have given a message and interacted with me. Otherwise, I will catch you fast. You are, is it?
But today only.
Yeah, today only. So I was too busy. I couldn't see the today's messages, though I was answering most of them by cutting and pasting and copying. Okay. May not be relevant to you, but I cut and paste and copy to people. That's what I did. But I'll tell you, if you have got a place where you can do experiments, DrTPS is with you for 10 days.
Wow.
I'll come physically and stay there and show you my technique. That can be done. Where are you?
I'm in Mumbai.
Mumbai, right. That's a place where I had very less number of, but I worked with the Heleno Grady International and I had got lot of lectures in Bombay. I must have given to lot of lectures in DAV and so many schools. I also asked them how to paint their wall to make it child friendly and so many things. Where do you learn geography from the wall around? People will be so busy looking at things and you will locate yourself. Understood? See, Bombay is a beautiful place. When you look at stand Bombay, if I am looking east, west, north, south marked on the wall, and you say I have to look at west to look at London, Iran, Dubai, like that, their geography becomes so strong, in their life. And from there, I look to the east, I will see Hyderabad, then Bay of Bengal, and then down towards I will see Australia, and up, north towards that. Put the real map onto the wall around. The children will learn geography in a day. Don't think that your children have to be taught only what is given in the prescribed by some stupid NCERT or some fellow, and then you name your school as CBSE. Actually, that is the most stupidest thing, has to be stopped. Your LKG, UKG up to pre-primary, primary is not CBSE. CBSE start in 9th class, Central Board of Secondary Education. Secondary education is 9th class onwards. So why new NEP says up to grade 3 you have a freedom to teach what you want, and it has to be informal. Throw away all the books. Otherwise, buy only one book, tear it into pieces, and then distribute to all the children to learn different pages. When children, I'll tell you, 20 students or 40 students come to stay with me for a camp, I buy the yearbook of different companies. What do? I tear them into pieces, because yearbook has only 1 year life. Why should I preserve it in the almara and then keep it safe without destroying? So what do? Is tear it into 40 pieces, distribute it to 40 people, ask them to learn different chapter, come and present it to the other people, they will learn. So one day we will finish 1 year book. That's how I teach. I got a different methodology to teach. I'll tell you, all your children will become sample models in the whole world, because they are all bright. They can do much better than all of us. Only thing, we have to trigger them and then give them and observe them. This is what I have done in my class. This is what my observation of the change in last 1 week. 5 days of 10 days change in them is good enough to make you a paper international publishable. I'll vouch for that. That's possible. Okay. And there are a lot of things. If somebody is hyperactive, you can do research on what sort of food they eat. That's a great research, because food affects their life pattern, that affects their behavior patterns. Rajasic, Tamasic, Sattvic. And you can also connect it to the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Kattomla, Lavanatyushna, starting chapters, and quote that and then say, because of this, that triggered me to do a research, and this is how I did the research. They are hyperactive. Identify people who are silent and violent. Ask them the menu which they eat at home. How many of them will have what sort of food? It becomes a research paper, Amma. From the heaven you can take research papers. You show me the group and tell me the branch, tell me the people, I will tell you what research you can do. It's very, very simple. Doing research is not a great thing, but it's a trick. If you know the trick, you know how to do it. That's as simple as that. Yeah.
DrTPS, for a particular project during my studies, I had to do a research.
Yeah.
And when you have to put up questionnaires or surveys and you have to circulate it to people, I found that people are very reluctant to give us information over questionnaires and surveys. So is that also a problem that comes in between research when you want to do it?
See, there are primary data collection. When primary data collection, people may not be open up to tell you the things, but you are working in a group of teachers. They must have observed so many things. When you collect that information from those teachers, it's called the secondary data. Secondary data is also good enough, because they have large number of years of experience which they can share. Okay. So primary data, sometimes they will be reluctant, but there are different techniques of doing research. I will give you an example. If you ask somebody, what is your monthly income, they may not answer. Okay, including DrTPS will not answer this question. But if you ask me, what is your budget for petrol per week? Number one, how many telephones you have? What is the model which you are using? Understood? I have got 4 telephones in front of me. And how many books you purchased in last 1 month? What is your electricity bill? What is your telephone bill? What scheme you are using? How many number of travels which you made in last? Assume that somebody asked me that question. Last 3 months I was there in Punjab, I was there in Haryana, I was there in Jharkhand, I was there in Bihar, I was there in Bengal, I was there in Shimla, I was there in Everest, I went to Everest base camp, I was there in Kathmandu. Do you think somebody who earns very less will be able to travel like this, or somebody sponsor it, right? So that means nobody will give you loan unless you have a repaying capacity. So don't you think that your lifestyle can be designed? Where did you purchase your last kurta? How many you purchased in the last 1 month? DrTPS purchased 7 of them. Understood? So if you ask how many colors of different dress which you have, I am sure that will tell you what is your standard of life, right? Correct? See, I may not answer how much, what is my income, but every day when I use around me, I use different watches. You can look at my costume, no? So how many watches you will have? I have so many at this sitting place. I have got 3 different sitting places like this. So is it not good enough to show what is your standard of life? Understood? So you must know how to ask indirect questions to derive what you wanted. Okay. How many times you have gone out for a dinner? What was your last bill? Good enough. Is it not good enough? When you go to Calcutta, which hotel you stayed? Though it was being sponsored by Masuda, I can tell I stayed in Taj, right? Understood? When I went to Shimla, I stayed in... Yeah.
Doctor, what gift you gave to your wife on her birthday?
Not...
That should be the most expensive one.
No,
That should be the most expensive one.
no, Rajani, I take a lot of classes for people in the large, like insurance company. My lecture was in the great hotel in Bombay last time. Okay. So what do I tell? All of them I will tell, you must have stayed in an expensive hotel, but while going back, you buy a sari and then gift it to your wife. They will not complain. So I make sure that when I go to all these places, I purchase some saris and then gift. Not even a single place, except last time in Calcutta, I was selecting a sari which I couldn't select, so I have shown pictures and then asked whether you want this, whether you want this. That's how I selected. I do that, sincerely I do it.
Sir, we can even put a question like branded clothes. What type of brand of clothes you purchase?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You must do that.
So can I speak?
Who is this Amaravani?
Aisha.
Amaravani Aisha, yes. Yeah.
This is Aisha from Bangalore.
Yeah.
Sir, my topic I suggested was, I mean, you said it is too generic. I just wanted to have the information on this impact of early childhood educators' well-being on children's overall development.
Yeah. See, well-being is a very big question. If you look at India's happiness index, I have not referred anything to give you a number, but it is much worse than Pakistan. It is 130 or so. When I looked at last time to give a lecture, I have referred the internet, it says 130. That is because most of the people are sick physically. So well-being can be a physical fitness. If you look at how many times you visited hospitals, you will see a lot of people visiting hospital. That is not because people are not well. Because for small problems, we go to hospital and meet a doctor because they are easily approachable. If you ask the same question in America, people don't go to hospitals because even for a fever to get an appointment, you will have to wait for 1 month. You have severe teeth problem, you are paining, and you don't get an appointment unless it is emergency, and emergency charges are 50 times more than the normal charges. You understood? Who will go to doctor? Therefore, the number of observation, number of people went to doctor versus the population, if you look at it, they are not at all sick. That doesn't mean they are not sick. Understood? So physical wellness, very difficult to assess in India situation because everybody, I don't like something to eat, then I will say I have got a headache today. I don't like to talk to my neighbor, I will say I have got a headache today. Some guest is coming to your house, you don't like, you will say I have a headache today. And that is caused diseases for you. So one. Second one, that is physical. Emotional. We are so close to emotionally attached to people, a small scolding from somebody is enough to become sick. We are so emotionally attached. Therefore, a social status, a social structure which we have creates us lot of emotionally imbalanced. Understood? So, wellness is a very big definition which cannot be understood. Therefore, it's too generic. That is why I wanted you to look at, assume that somebody is going to hospital, identify what are all the problems you have, what are all the diseases which you have. And if you do that research, that itself is a big research. Emotional, how many times, I don't think in India you can ask how many times you consulted a psychologist. Because people don't consult a psychologist. We have got lot of psychic people who become psychologists, psychotherapists. They are counseling people. They are mentoring people because they suffered in their childhood. They have no other job. They are become unfit in most of the things. They become psychotherapists. They actually destroy. What happens is, I have got a lot of complaints from psychologists from Kerala where I was doing a mentoring program which is called a Walk with a Scholar. Most of the psychology people will go and ask children, which subject is difficult for you? Mathematics. The psychologist immediately say, yeah, during my childhood also maths was so difficult. No, it's a difficult subject. Finished. They will never learn maths. Who becomes a psychologist? Because they were not very good in maths, physics, chemistry. They are not psychologists. They are psychotherapists. So our approach to the problem is not very scientific. Therefore, intelligence trouble, understanding of subjects, which doesn't happen, they will become sick. So wellness. Why teenage people are sick? Because they have lot of pressure on studies. Physical, emotional, intellectual and social. Our social structure is so much. Up to teenage, when you go any party, you will take your children. When they become slightly grown, they say, you stay at home, we will go and come back. And they, what do they do at home? They find their own friends to mix and then talk and then all that. They spoil their time. They will become more depressed. So social gathering is restricted after some time for both boys and girls. Girls at least have got a freedom to talk to their mother. Boys doesn't have freedom to talk to their mother or father. So psychologically they are upset. Understood? And the fourth, last one. We have so much of belief system and religious practices around us which contradicts and conflicts with a lot of stories which are not realistic. We don't understand the difference between Veda, Upanishads, Idihasa, Purana. Everything is to be believed. The other day, somebody was talking to me from America. Somebody wore a black dress and the mother-in-law said, how can you wear black dress on a Saturday? And was complaining, what should I give? I said, there is a great answer for this because black is for Shiva. Black is for Ayyappa from Kerala, Swami Ayyappan. And this is auspicious on Saturday. It is not bad. Black is very good on Saturday. We can find reasons from one story which is good, another story which contradicts also. Because it's so much of conflicts and contradicts. So children are so much conflicting, contradicting from different people. Therefore, well-being is a big question to be answered. That is why I said make it very specific. Religious conflict.
Doctor, my concern is more on the educators.
Yeah. Educators.
I'm more concerned on the educators when we are talking about the holistic development of a child, then why it is not the teacher's development?
That is why I said.
Should be socially, physically, mentally prepared to take up a class.
Aisha, that is what I am coming to. You should do this not at the child level. You should do it to the educators. Earlier I said it could be a study for educators. I made a no preamble for the whole lecture. So the research is not for child alone, educators. So these conflicts are there in each one of us. The well-being is not for children. I am sure children doesn't affect. If they have fever also, they will go to school, they will study. They have no problem. But teachers have problem, the parents have problem. Okay. So how much it is impacting the educators, how much is impacting the parents. Therefore, indirectly it impacts the children. Correct? So that can be a good study, but there also the well-being is a big questionable question. That's only what I am saying. See, I will tell you, a lot of people prescribe, for you have a problem, meditate. I am a meditation master from Himalayan tradition. I never taught I am a meditation master from Himalayan tradition. I never taught meditation to anybody because my guru told the Himalaya tradition believe meditation cannot be taught. It has to be attained. Use the word attained. I cannot teach you the taste of water. I can drink and feel it. I cannot teach you the taste of water. Similarly, I can take you yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Up to 7th level I can take you. Even dhyana is difficult. Up to 6th level I can take you. In US, somebody asked me to inaugurate a meditation center. I asked them paint the meditation and put to their dhyanalayam. I did that and then only inaugurated. I told I will not inaugurate a meditation center. I will only inaugurate Dhyanalayam, where Dhyanam is possible and Dhyanam may lead you to Samadhi. That is up to you. Or you may get into sleep also. It depends on what is that you want. And we have stupid saffron people who are selling this in this country. Yeah? If you have not understood this, look at an old movie, 1970s movie, Chapakwe. Chapaque. It's a movie available. And if you think that what has to be understood from our mythology, look at Mahabharata by Peter Brooks. I will give you movie names just like this. You will enjoy seeing all of them. Okay. So you will understand how much of conflict we have in using words, how much of conflict we have in understanding our mythology. We are only looking at from some point of view which some storyteller has given. So therefore, there are a lot of conflicts which is to be understood. It's a good topic. Even the conflict itself is a good topic. Because of this conflict, we have problem in the classroom. Therefore, I am not able to guide my children also can be a good study. Send that across to all the 70 people and then we can make a questionnaire and then do that. Aisha, I will be with you to do that research. Yeah.
Thank you, DrTPS. Thank you so much.
Come on, any question I can tell you where it can be converted into a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I just, Dr. TPS,
Yeah.
I just heard the last statement which you have used regarding the parents.
Yeah.
For an example, whenever we talk about certain problems, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so the teachers, students, we all share a golden triangle, when we talk about the school, when we talk about the parents, when we talk about the children.
Yeah.
So I think it is a mutual participation of all three. When we three are together in a golden triangle, then and then only there are solutions to a problem.
Yeah.
Now, I heard you talk about something about the parents. So when we talk about a certain problem, for example, when I talk about the sustainable goals,
Yeah.
to reach the sustainable goals or to get it right from the scratch, because we have heard people talk about, all senior educationists talk about the sustainable goals and all. But to start, we have to do it from a scratch.
Yeah.
And scratch is through the early childhood,
Yeah.
when the small children are there. So how to go about with this? So I personally feel that the parent engagement and communication is a big yes to it, and also how to create the awareness among the parents. For an example, if I talk about one small example I want to highlight over here is about the field trip or the gardening or some activity which the child has to do in the garden in relation with the soil, clay and everything, right? So when the children are taken to the field, all the children are busy with the teachers regarding, all plants, flowers, soil, pebbles and everything. But there are a couple of parents, not all, but few parents who send the gloves, the plastic gloves along, and they don't want their child to, their bare hand should not touch the soil and everything because it will be dirty. So with the diary note, the instruction comes that the children are supposed to wear the gloves. And then they go about all this. One is this example. One is the other few examples also when we talk about like conservation of energy. Okay. So parents have a habit, suppose when we talk about the PTAs, they come in their private cars. One parent, one car. Okay. So much of congestion is there. There is a parking problem. Then there is a problem of pollution, traffic, congestion. Everything is there. Then when we pass on the circular, how about the carpool? You are neighbors. 2-3 parents can come in a single car. Okay. So what problems basically which we are facing is about the general awareness, about the parent engagement and communication, so that each of these small things should be communicated in a very positive manner to the parents, so that the parents understand the need that if we start doing all this, when we work out on this sustainable development right from the early age, and if they also cooperate, I believe that we all can have a mastery on this, or we all can be victorious when we started from the step one. So this is just one small example which I wanted to highlight regarding the problem.
I totally agree with Shelly, but I have to add little more to that. most of the time it is not parents alone, sometimes it is grandparents also. Because today most of the parents have got their grandparents. I'll tell you, when I was in Delhi, I was there in Delhi for 2 years. I used to sit 2 hours in the temple because my office was diagonally opposite to the temple, Mayur Vihar, where before going to the office, I'll sit there because that's the time when children and parents and grandparents all will come. Evening also, I will invest nearly 1.5, 2 hours there. If I ask a young child, I have got a lot of jokes with them. I'll ask them, how much you will give it to your father? Out of 100, how good is your father? Do you rate them as 100 out of 100 or 20 out of 100 or 0 out of 10? Immediately I have seen most of the children will say, father 0, mother 0, grandfather 100, grandmother 100. Because most of the time, the grandfather and grandmother who are with them, they take care of them well, play with them well. More than that, they will find all the problems of father and mother and then fed the small child. You understood? So it is not that grandparents influence. Grandparents make their parents and the mother and father as the worst person in the world, probably. Because this grandfather and grandmother are so unhappy. They would have been so happy in their native. They are forced to come and stay in the city to look after this young child. Understood? So they are not really enjoying. They are, including my mother was staying with me in Hyderabad. She would have been much more happier in the village. But I have to take care of 2 of my kids where I am working, my wife is working. But my mother was so social, though she don't speak language, she used to make friends with all the other people, and by evening when I come in my house, there will be at least a few people who will talk to her in different languages. Understood? So not everybody can do that, right? So what I am saying is, I have got this grandma child care. That's why I named it as Grandma Child Care Shiksha Gurukulam. Shiksha is my trust. That's why I named it like this. There, you have got a hall in which age 3 to grade 3, no class barrier, a single hall. I don't know where is Shelly working. You have got a freedom to do this. I will be at your service to establish this hall and then do all that with the minimum expenditure. You don't have to spend a lot of money because you don't have a lot of furnitures. I believe only a 2-inch cushion with a different rugs in different colors so that children can play on that, jumping and play. We have got a lot of old waste papers and magazines to cut and paste. That will be the craft. They will work with hands. And then you have got a place where parents, grandparents, people who are at rest can come and sit and observe what is happening. They can contribute in case they wanted to contribute. So it will become a social gathering. Number 1. Regarding your number 2, going to the, you must understand, I was part of National Service Scheme. I was also given a governor's award in Andhra Pradesh for that time, Andhra Telangana together, for the best mentor for the National Service Scheme students. When I make a college students to work, you must realize them, it is not to work, it is to get the taste of work. I am asking somebody to cut vegetable and then cook, not to cook. It is, I can buy item much cheaper and then serve, but I am making a social gathering in which people are participative, so I understand the taste of doing it. Got it? So if your objective is very clear, it is defined properly to parents. That is why DrTPS doesn't take class. If I am invited somewhere for a small program, I will say invite me for 3 days. One day I will speak to teachers, next day to parents, third day to students. Because what will happen if I talk to children, they will go and tell their parents that DrTPS told this. The parents will say, we have heard so many lectures, it doesn't make any difference to us. But if you tell the parents first and then the children, and the children will go and tell parents, this is what DrTPS told, they will feel, yeah, I also heard him. Understood? So the communication becomes stronger. That's why my name is TPS. Teachers, parents, students. So it is not 3. The parents, when I say, it also means grandparents. So I've got a model in which parents, grandparents, society people who are active. I'm sure if there is a school somewhere here where I can go and sit and spend time. I did this when my children were young. LKG, UKG time, they were left from the school at 11:30. The elder one was left at 1:30. So what do I do generally Saturday when I have holiday? 11 o'clock I will go. That 2 hours I will invest in the school. Most of the teachers are very close to me, including my own children, the teachers, principal, everybody were very close to me. I was like a faculty there. I was putting all my effort understanding what the school is doing. They have a science exhibition, I used to be there. They have a geography exhibition, I used to be there. I used to train teachers there. I used to go to LKG classes. I used to be on the ground playing with the children. Can you imagine a parent doing it? I have done it when my children were young. So I have seen, if there is a participation possible and you are open, you can make it open. You can make it little flexible. And I will tell you, if you have got a standard grade to school, you start small centers in the society at different places. They are all feeders to your school. They don't even have to travel a lot. So the carpooling and such things will not happen. In America, everybody who joins in a company have got a concept called educational districts. If my child is studying in a school very close to the place, the fees I don't have to pay the fees. If I am putting them in a farther place, I will have to pay large fees. Number one. Number two, there are no public transport system where people can be sent by either school bus or parents have to drop them into school. So compulsory parents have to go 3 times to pick up and drop and all that, right? And no boss will ask you, why are you going, where are you going? All that question is not there. They have a different culture. Understanding this, they decided, we will not send them to schools. We have got an open school scheme. You can look at a lot of documentaries. I must have a lot of documentary names are coming to me. I am holding it. You can look at de-schooling documentaries. America has popularized de-schooling schemes from last 30-40 years. They don't want children to go to schools. They will educate at home only. So similarly, we cannot do that because our parents are not that educated where they can use their... And what do? Between one society to another society, American people even this Monday, today is a holiday in America. America will not give Wednesday, Thursday, Friday holiday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday holiday they will not give. Any holiday which is coming in between the weeks, they will adjust to the last Friday or the first Monday. So everybody gets a 3-day holiday. When they get a 3-day holiday, they go for picnic. And such picnics are social gathering. Understood? So social gathering, working in the place are all very common to them. Though they are very hygiene people, they also work on the mud. Every house they have got a garden, number one. More than that, every house they have got a library. I don't know, Shelley's behind what is seen is a real one or a picture one?
This is not the real one.
Okay, real one. I namaste to you because rarely I see teachers. When I go to different schools, I must have gone thousands of schools. I scold the principal because they keep a lot of trophies behind. I tell them teachers are supposed to be models. You are supposed to keep books, not trophies. Okay. So I congratulate you. If you look around, I have got a bundle of books around me. So I love people who are teachers who wanted to read. There is a rule which says 20 seconds. If I cannot pick up water and picking up water and drinking or picking up, it takes 20 seconds. If you have got 20 seconds, some books around you, definitely you will use it. If you have 20-second water, you will drink. If it is little far, you will not drink during the session. So every teacher, every student should have lot of things like this. So when we have got a activity, assume that in your house you don't have a garden. Taking them for a gardening doesn't make any difference because that will be only a show. So you have to give them some pot, give them some plants and then ask them to do it. And Shelley used one word which is called dirty. I remember when I went to Austria, I was telling the water, I asked for drinking water, they said you can take it from the toilet. I said, taking water from the toilet, we never. I said, is the water is not good? No. He says, yeah, it may be little muddy, but we filter it. We don't give dirty water, we give muddy water. You understood the difference? A small difference, but it makes a lot of difference. The water can be muddy because the base is mud. But once it is piped, little mud may go. But under the mud, if there is dirt, in Indian situation, it's a dirty water. But don't use the word dirt. It is only muddy. Mud is not dirt. Understood? So how do you make this lesson? You must keep a 5-star hotel in which somebody is eating and put a poster where the farmers are working. They eat in the mud. My father was a farmer. I have got 10 acres of land which is paddy field. In my childhood I worked. You can see DrTPS climbing coconut tree, climbing arecanut tree. You can see on YouTube also. I still work. As a scientist, I have been covered by one of the newspaper where they have seen me climbing the coconut tree when they came for an interview. Understood? So I still work. So people have to be given the taste of working. To give the taste of working, we must take them not one day for a show, but give them some small activity inside the, you don't have to take them too far. In your school itself, you can have garden, right? When I was an executive director of an engineering college, I asked all the children to bring a 15 centimeter hibiscus plant stick. Wherever you collect, I don't care, but everybody should have. So we had 1,500 children bringing hibiscus plant of 15 centimeter. I planted that in 2010. Today when I go back to the campus, I can see full of hibiscus. No maintenance is required for this at all. I am sure all those people who participated in this activity has got a great memory in their life. Got it? So you should have celebration, but you should also have something to take it away from this. So I can go on and on, but I am sure it's a beautiful concept to be understood. How people reacted to this can be a research problem. How did you use the techniques which I told you can be used in your environment and class, and then say that we have seen a large. See, we are not posing problems in research. Understand, it is not telling problems, it is not posing problem. I used this methodology and it worked is the result and conclusion. There has to be a result, there has to be a discussion, there has to be a conclusion. Posing problem is possible. No. But all this I added to you to tell that as an example, you gave me a problem, I gave some solutions. I used these solutions in my classroom and then found that it was accepted by people. And it worked well. So that can be the result publication. Where are you in Shelly? Where are you in India? New Delhi.
New Delhi.
Okay.
Yeah. So wonderful inputs you have given. Rather, I personally feel that unless and until we don't reach out to the solution of a problem.
Always research will not tell problems. It will tell you solutions only. The objective and scope is very clear. Problem is defined. You have a methodology, and the methodology is what I explained to you. That methodology, the result is this. Therefore, the conclusion is this. Without that, paper will not be completed. Where are you in Delhi?
I stay in Dwarka.
Dwarka. Okay. I must have gone to most of the good schools around in Delhi in 2007 to 2009. Every day morning I used to go to one school, finish the assembly, then go to my office by 9:30.
Okay, that's right.
Every day I was in one or other schools. Yeah.
So I feel, suppose if I work in a school, taking interviews of the primary teachers, children, parents, administrators, I believe that is more than enough to complete on with the research work.
But how do you know your methodology or your idea is implemented there and found a result?
No, but see, if I see certain problems in the school.
The problems, dictation of problems will not become a research problem, right? That will become a problem which you have to solve using some methodology and find the result. Unless you solve the problem to find a result, it cannot be a research paper. Posing a problem is not a research problem. That is how you will see a lot of people. Do you have headache? Yes, I have headache. Everybody will say, what is the solution? There is no solution. But the other day I was mentioning casually, you ask a problem, do you have headache? Yes. Did you have tea in the morning or coffee in the morning? Do you have nail polish in your hand? Whether you traveled by auto or not. Then you make some suggestion saying that the people who traveled by auto had headache. The people who had coffee had no headache. People who had tea had a severe headache. People who had nail polish who traveled by auto had a problem. This becomes a solution.
No, implementation of a certain thing and then watch for the result.
That is what.
You wait
Yes.
for 3 months.
Yes.
And and then see whether the output is there or not.
You don't have to even to wait for 3 months. It can be 1 month and then make a progress. Because minimum 1 month is required if you want to make a conclusion, result, data analysis, writing a paper. It will not happen for you. Okay. So unless you are thorough in writing paper, it will take minimum 2-3 weeks.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
So much regards and thanks for the input.
No, this is what I do. You are welcome.
Sir, the topic could be a healthy and happy environment for children can create an impact on their holistic grooming.
Again, it's I told the topic become too vast. I told you the holistic is a big word. See, the value, character, individual learning ability, mindfulness, emotional well-being, lifestyle, whether it is balanced or not, and respect to the nature and environment, as just now we discussed. Individual learning ability can be a well-being. Suppose somebody is not able to learn individually, it can be a sick person, right? So holistic health, either physical or emotional, intellectual problems, including the way you react to the society, value education, and spirituality and connection. Somebody is maybe physically sick, but they are spiritually high, they will not feel sad. Like Ramana Maharshi had a lot of health problem. Vivekananda had a lot of health problem. DrTPS also may have a health problem. But I am not concerned about it, but I am spiritually conquering. Understood? So therefore, you have to understand what is holistic. And today's scenario, like Masuda was telling, digital literacy makes you holistic. Understood? Environment consciousness, emotional intelligence, and global perspective. Whether you have a global perspective, then you are a great person. A mental health has to be checked. How do you do all this? Like futuristic skills have to be understood. All these are very big problems to the extent. So in 3 months, if you are not, the big problem can be there for a thesis. But cut that into smaller 6-7 problems. Solve one by one. Add them together for a PhD. In which it includes curriculum development, scope of what can be done, the learning goals and outcomes, and the how do your transaction can be done so that their well-being becomes good. What are the milestones which you have? How do you collaborate with the family and the society, like partnership, what we just discussed? How do you make your professional development so that you know how to take care of children? It's not you alone. When you run a school, there are a lot of people. How do you all of them get into a different level? In multicultural problems, how do you react to the well-being? Suppose one only child is there who is from a different language. All others are Hindi speaking, one Tamil. Finished. The well-being doesn't happen because they are not able to communicate. Today's problem, there are big problems like this. I have seen people become depressed because they have shifted.
Cultural diversity.
Yeah. How do you take care of them? How do you understand and promote this cultural understanding so that they will make good friendship? Right? And identity development. Every small child wanted to show that hand and then say, no, I will answer, I will answer, I will answer. How do you, a teacher, tackle such situations? How do you take care of these challenges? And there are a lot of bias, stereotype problems, the language literacy development, language.
It comes to something like active versus passive child in the class.
Yes, but how do you bring them up? How do you make a group? How do you make group activities in which these cultural change can be separated or maybe resolved? The emotional, social, cognitive development, how it will work in such situations. Cultural competence, how do you do this? How do you assemble them together? It's all challenging job. It's not individual learning support. It is fostering a positive ambience and environment in which the holistic development is possible.
So for this, can we get a Google form ready and get it filled by different teachers so that we
I suggest you look at bits of problems.
Yes.
Don't take a complex problem and then approach somebody. You will get more complex. When many people give feedback, if your questionnaire is not very, very comprehensive, there is something called the Indian people are very good in giving answers, though it is not straightforward. We manipulate answers. So there is something called the consistency check. See, I may ask a positive question in question number 1. I will repeat the same question in a different style in the 18th question. in which I know this 18th one is contradicting the first answer. If this option is A, I must expect the last answer D for the 18th question. If it is not consistent, I will throw that answer sheet. I have seen 99% of the people make this mistake. Therefore, questionnaire is not a great input in a situation where people are more educated. The more and more educated they are, the more and more diplomatic they are. The more and more diplomatic they are not simple, they are sophisticated. Understood? So this is my experience. I have guided a lot of people in psychology, MBA, social analysis, other than science. So we found people are not very genuine in answering. Therefore, your questionnaire has to be so much good, you can derive what you want. And identify one problem and one questionnaire. Don't attack all the problems. You will lose your energy, and once you get the feedback, you will get confused. Answers are very easy, but getting an interpretation, doing a statistics, making some conclusion from the data which you collected is a very big problem.
Right.
DrTPS, sir, I just want to ask you is, please guide us for how the research has to be taken, because Shelly ma'am, Sonia ma'am or Rajini, they have been doing their research papers, but most of us who are attending today are freshers. So we would really like to suggest like what steps have to be followed. Okay, because this is the first time when we are doing it. First time we have that fear. Okay, I am quite nervous now looking at these people talking. Sonia ma'am, Shelly ma'am, and Rajni. I think I am at the D level. So to myself to get trained and come up to this one, it will take a lot of time. And I want to give my best to this team. And I want the best of my research paper. So it's not only me. I think most of us who have attended the session today are doing it for the first time. So there is a fear. And the thing that you're talking out is really something new for us. सब सर के ऊपर से जा रहा है.
Aisha, after listening to sir, I think we are also coming into the new category.
No, I am so happy. I am so happy.
He's trying to give us so much information. Like RV said in the starting, just give the paper and get the certificate done. That was there in my mind. Now I feel that this is a big job, yeah.
Aisha, I am so happy when you listed the names, you listed only few people in which DrTPS was not there. So I will hold your hands and then walk together along with you to guide you properly. I will give a hand holding. Don't worry. See, that is why.
I should thank Masuda for bringing you to this platform actually.
See, actually it is not Masuda's idea. It is DrTPS who wanted this to happen, because I know at the end of the day, in August end, you will have a lot of people doing blah blah blah, and all of you will feel, oh, they spoke well, but after 2 days you will feel it was all waste and nothing happened. I don't want that to happen.
Most of the educators do not know how to do a research actually.
No.
Actually, I wanted that to come when we are into an international conference on early childhood care, education and research. When we are talking about research, the actual research work in ECC should come up and no copy-paste work. So that was the idea behind, and I'm really grateful to DrTPS for the wonderful session.
I will tell you, Masuda and Aisha, I am only writing down when you are talking and I am reflecting. I am only one page, half page written with my pen, and I am speaking like this. Understood? Because morning I had a mathematics session and it took nearly 3 hours for me to edit and post it. I just finished editing you can see my last posting on my video. It was just finished now. You can see the time. It is only posted 1 hour back, 2 hours back. I am on that job. And now this I will do today, and then only I will sleep. So it may be 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. And in between, Masuda sends me a letter for drafting. I don't take more than half an hour for editing most of the spellings, most of the structure. Understood? I do it at 2 o'clock midnight also and send it. That's what I do.
DrTPS is so fast. The letter that I think and write for like hours, he just edited it few minutes and And that is amazing from his part.
Aisha, I learned all this from Bangalore. In Cubbon Park near Central, your KG Road to the Vidhana Sauda.
Post office.
Vidhana Sauda, there is an institution called UVCE, University College of Engineering, in which room number 310 was my room, where my research guide Rudraya used to become an actual tough master. He will give me a problem and say, finish that, then only go home. Because if I don't finish, tomorrow he will give a bigger problem. If I postpone today's problem for tomorrow, what do I expect? Tomorrow I am more free than today, right? But Dr. TPS doesn't feel that tomorrow I am going to be more leisure and today is the busiest day. For me, tomorrow is much more busier. So what should I do? I should finish it today, just now, right? That's what I do. See, all these, at least 10 calls were there in between the session. I stored all their number, request to join. I have sent a message to all of them, the link for joining in between.
That we all got it.
Yeah.
And we all got it and we saw how fast and speedy you are.
I want all of you to store my number and send me a message. Many of you have not done. If you are not done, my job will become much bigger. Because otherwise the telegram message will not go. The broadcasting will not go. So I want all of you to store and interact with me. We can have your problem, you send it, you write in whatever style you think is a abstract, objective and scope and abstract of the problem, you write and send it to me. I'll guarantee on the same day or next day morning 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, you will get a refined version for you. I may ask you to refine it many times. I wrote a book called The Raising of India by the Race of India, which there are people who iterated 160 times also. I don't allow people to become just like that casual. I have asked them to refine it so many times, no, to make the writing skill better. So it's very easy for me. I am good in doing it. So you can.
You are good at doing it, we are not good at doing it.
No, I want you to write so rough so that you can show some interest. And whatever mistakes is there, if it is not clear, paragraph wise, concept wise, you separate them. Don't write one single paragraph. One concept, one paragraph, next concept, another paragraph. If all of you write like that, I guarantee you, in 10-15 days, I will make a book and send it to Masuda for printing. You will all become contributors in that book.
Today's session, like you started, speaking about the problems, about our research topics. So what will be for tomorrow and what will be for the day after?
Don't ask me, I don't know. I don't prepare. Tomorrow it's your
Are
turn.
you going to is it going to be like only the talks what they are having or you're going to teach us?
No, you tell your problems with this background what I have sent, more precise definition of a problem, more precise methodology you can do, and I will ask you what did you do, and if there are more people who can contribute to that, I will refine it so that becomes a lesson for somebody else. Now doesn't matter, you have little bit of turbulence today, but tomorrow it will become much smoother. Day after tomorrow you will become a smooth sailor. Don't worry, that is my job. If you are ready to speak like this and if you are ready to talk like this, I am sure you can do wonders. But there are more silent people. That is where my worry is. Tomorrow instead of 64 people, only 30 are also is good enough.
Sir, that silent means in the sense what is happening is like, we are not aware about actually what research is.
That is why.
What is making us keep silent?
That is why I have sent.
On behalf of everybody, I'm telling you.
That is why I have sent our earlier discussion. That is why I have sent our earlier discussion for you to listen to that. Number one. Number two, Dr. TPS, when I have sent my introduction, you should go to early childhood, grandma child care, listen to such different talks, at least at a random, and when you listen, give a comment there so that I know Aisha has seen this. Oh, Aisha has interest. So I will spend more time on you. Understood? So I am sure that is how we mentor people, right? There is no question at all. If I have to travel from Hyderabad to my native Kerala, I have to cross Bangalore. So it's a place where I keep traveling all the time. Definitely don't worry. And there are some people like who wanted to have me in Mysore, Bangalore to have some workshop. We can also have physical workshop in which we can invest some time to see how you in 3 days you spend there. We will make a paper out of each one of you. No problem. Online when we do 1 hour only, right? 1 hour, this much you got it. You can imagine if you spend 8 hours, how much you will get. Not a problem. This is only a sponge which is put in water. Something is there. You have to squeeze it and put again. So many times you put, you will feel, yeah, I got it now. I know the trick of research. Research methodology is a paper, 6 months paper in any university. So I am not taking you to the paper. I am not taking you to the mathematical methodology. Which I am saying, I will fill it up. Once you have got data, writing the conclusion, methodology, all that is simple. How to frame a problem. Objective and scope framing the problem is done. I will tell you how to make a questionnaire, how to write a methodology, how to do literature survey, how to write your introduction. All that can be done. We had a detailed discussion with Vasundhara. That is also posted. It's there on YouTube.
Our today's job is,
No, just a minute.
our today's job is like we have to prepare the abstract, write our objective and the scope.
Yeah.
And forward it to you so that you just correct us.
Yeah, write not one title. You rewrite the title at least 4 times in a different style, different fashion.
Okay.
Then your idea will change. Actually, the idea will change when you write the heading 3-4 times. Okay. Contents can be same, but rewrite the heading 3-4 times. So you are refining it internally. I will tell you some 1 or 2 candidates when they wrote first, I said not acceptable. Second time they wrote, I said you have to edit it and correct it. Third and fourth time, I couldn't even imagine what an improvement in 10 minutes or 15 minutes they made. No, I've got such examples also among them. But title is not good enough. Objective and scope has to come out. Problem has to be defined. Everything will come. I'm sure there is great scope. I never thought that this many people will join, this many interaction will happen. So I'm so glad.
Sir, excuse me, TPS, Dr. TPS. Sir, tomorrow morning we have to send this abstract and objectives in your personal number at your.
All such communication, send it to Dr. TPS individually. Anamika, can you mute Anamika? Lot of disturbance from there. Shahina, Sheikh, you send it to me so that many iterations and many things will not happen in the group. It will become too clumsy. So many people have sent. Immediately I have sent editing. So many 3-4 times. If all that comes there, it will not be good. Okay. So send it to me directly.
Sir, I would just like to ask if in case for tomorrow, if in case we can also have some samples being discussed. So it is given over to you and it will be paper, sir.
I am sure with this introduction, if some people come out with a very specific abstract, objective and scope, each individual abstract and objective scope, each one of you can present, and that will become a knowledge for others how to write. We will do that.
Area of interest, though it could be multiple, sometimes we do have 2 or more area of interest also.
Separate them problem wise. Separate them paper wise. Don't put everything in one paper. Bits and bits of papers. You can have 3 parallel papers also. No problem.
Yeah, it could be on stager development, and it could be, though it would be very, very, intensive if we are searching on such. But show me that how do we take that into one concrete, objective.
Write it down. you read yourself 3-4 times. You are the best person to edit your own ideas. Write it down, write 3-4 times differently, edit it, correct it, send it to me. Again, I will look at it and send it to you back. Immediately I will do it. I will not take much time.
Sir, I have my presentation ready also.
Send it, send it,
Ready.
send it. But only one page. It has to be objective and scope and abstract. No full paper.
Okay. So I'll give you the last page which has the summary of
No,
it's
abstract, objective and scope, abstract, and in abstract itself you will say this is my conclusion. That will be 2 sentences.
Okay.
You must know how to write an abstract. That's most important. Most of the conferences, papers are not accepted. Abstracts are accepted. Then you make the paper. So I'm sure here also I suggested Masuda, we will have abstract submitted, evaluate it, then accept for presentation. Along with the presentation, by the time you present, paper can be ready. So your anticipated result can be the part of your abstract. Conclusion is the last part. If that is done, that means you already have a paper with you. Good enough. But don't send it to me that. Because that takes longer time for me to do it. Which I don't want to invest time now. I can see to know whether the rice is cooked properly or not. I will not eat the whole rice. I will only take a bit and then taste. Oh, it is cooked. So abstract, objective and scope is understood. Then I know, oh, the paper is good. That is like a sample survey for me. That's good enough. Yeah. Done? It's already 10 o'clock. We targeted it to 9:30.
But sir, actually whatever the discussion you are doing, actually it is interesting. So the time is no matter.
I know. People are much happy. Otherwise, I don't think any conference, any discussion like this, 60 people will stay at after 2 hours also, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, sir. Exactly.
I am so glad. You are all great people. Actually, you have lot of field experience. I think we need to put them into paper and then show that we have got a great researchers here where we can contribute, and don't aim it to finish it here. I am sure in the subsequent years we should plan for a international conference and people bunch India, people will go to West and then present the papers. Such things should happen, right?
Yes.
The idea you are sharing, actually those are very valuable for us, sir. Although we are in this field I am from since last 18 years, but actually the idea you are giving and whatever the research you have done, really commendable.
What you should do is, I will post this onto YouTube. What you should do is, you should share to many more people. Either they attend or not, whether they get certificate or not, that's not the idea. The people should learn. There may be somebody who have not got this and then got a new idea saying, oh, this is what, let me also start. No, we could do many times more iterative, and that time we should have told, the Subhra Ghoshal got a paper like this. After attending a 3 days program, I wrote a paper like this. You must be able to say. It is not repeating same activity 800 times will make you only one, because same thing you are repeating. When you do different things, it becomes experience. So I am sure all of you are experienced, but you must have different experiences. So I am only trying to give you different experience.
Actually, sir, before that I had fear how to write the paper, and actually this is very new for me. And after listening you, the confident I get you, okay, I can also do.
Wonderful. That's great. You write any rough thing, doesn't matter. With your experience, you write anything rough. We will make it, revise it, filter it many times. It will become good. Yeah.
Yes.
And when you watch, when you
Yes,
get into YouTube, when you see my YouTube or anybody's YouTube, give a comment there so that, oh, I know, oh, Subhra has seen this. Rachana has seen this.
Definitely. Sir.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Then also share it to people, your own colleagues, so that they will find some use out of it, right? It will serve many more people. It will become great and good. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Definitely we will do, sir.
So all of you can raise your hand and take it back and say, well done. You have done well, not me.
Thank
Okay, Masuda,
Thank you, sir.
don't close this until I save this. So it takes some time to save. Maybe few minutes. Okay. Don't abruptly close the session, I am saying. Good enough? Anything more to add? Masuda has got some.
Under your guidance, sir, we can do better.
Hope so, yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. TPS, for the wonderful session. It was just amazing listening you. And a session after 2 hours. We are closing it around 2 hours, and there are 58 people to 60 people who are still there. That means it was something very knowledgeable, something we were learning, and we were enjoying. While we were learning. Thank you so much, Dr. TPS.
Just wait until I save this. 1 hour, 59 minutes, 35 seconds.
Dr. TPS has made this seminar joyful, actually, ma'am.
You are all good. That is why I could do it. Let us be more productive at the end of the day. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, now you can close. No problem.
Okay, Dr. TPS. Thank you.